Welcome back to TV47 News Tonight. Thank you for staying with us. As earlier promised and publicized, our guest tonight is Dr. Ahmed Khaleb, a consultant pathologist who joins us on the broadcast now. Dr. Ahmed, good evening. Thank you for your time tonight on TV47.
Thank you very much, Abu Bakr.
All right, Daktari, in a statement on Friday, the World Health Organization designated the new coronavirus strain as, quote, a variant of concern, naming it Omicron after a letter in the Greek alphabet. How concerned should we be of this variant?
I think we should be fairly concerned. And as you have seen, almost the whole world has gone into a panic. All the scientists, all the health authorities, most of the European countries and America have even shut their borders to Southern African countries. And Israel, for example, has actually completely shut its borders to all foreigners, and even Japan. And the reason why this is happening is because most people know about the Delta variant. The Delta variant went all over the world. It caused a lot of infection. It became the dominant variant. Even in Kenya, it is now more than 98%, overtaking other variants like the Alpha and the Beta variant. If you remember what happened with the Delta variant, the virus underwent some changes, what we call mutations, because of changes in the genetic code that affects the structure of the virus, which makes it to be more infectious. It is more transmissible. Now, what we have seen with this Omicron variant, it's called Omicron because it's the 15th Greek letter alphabet in the Greek alphabet. And as you know, we had Delta, we had Gamma. Now, the reason why they did not call it Nu or Z, because those ones have other connotations. So the World Health Organization named it Omicron. It was first discovered just 3 weeks ago in Botswana and South Africa. But within 2 weeks, it is actually the dominant variant in South Africa, and it has actually overtaken all the other variants, and that is why it's becoming a concern. The reason why this particular variant has taken up so much interest is because it has more than 50 mutations, and 30 of those mutations are affecting the spike protein, what you usually see on the pictures of the coronavirus. Now, that spike protein is what determines the infectivity, but more importantly, the antibodies that fight this virus as a result of the vaccine, they target the spike protein. Now, if that spike protein has changed because of mutation, it means antibodies might not work, what we call immune escape. It also means it might end up causing reinfection of people who have been previously infected and they have immunity. So there's a lot of concern, particularly about how infectious it will be, and data seems to show that.
All right, and Dr. when a variant is said to be more infectious than the previous variants, what scientifically does that mean?
So it means that if today I got infected, God forbid, I will infect more people as a result of being infected in close proximity to them compared to other variants. So in other words, what you call the reproducibility rate. In other words, it's able to multiply, it has higher dose of infectivity, and it will infect more people than the others, yes.
All right, and Dr. you have talked of the other variants that were of this novel coronavirus, this being the latest that was scientifically identified. Is this to suggest that as long as the virus lives, we are bound to experience more variant of a certain virus? Now, what actually happens with all viruses, even influenza, every year the viruses undergo mutations, because that's the natural thing for viruses. They undergo mutations as a way of adapting, trying to become more infectious. But the good thing is most mutations render the virus actually less harmful, less infectious. However, occasionally you get mutations that make the virus more harmful, more infectious, what we call more virulent, in other words, what causes more disease. And those are the ones that are called variants of interests or variants of concerns. When it's a variant of concern, it means it can infect more people, which means it can easily overwhelm the health system. It also means it might be able to cause more severe disease. We have not seen that yet with the Omicron, but we are worried about the high transmissibility and the high infectivity rate. And this variant is coming to the fore, Daktari, at a time when there is the process of vaccination and vaccines, and we will briefly talk of that. But how effective are the vaccines said to be against this virus variant?
So we know that, for example, the Delta variant has immune escape, but the Alpha and Beta variant had even a higher immune escape. In other words, it can easily cause infection even in somebody who has already been vaccinated. But the good thing is, as long as somebody is vaccinated and you have antibodies, generally what happens is that you will not become severely ill as someone who is not vaccinated, because somebody who is not vaccinated has no defense whatsoever. For somebody who is vaccinated, they develop antibodies in their blood, which means when they get exposed to the virus, the body is able to mount a quick immune response. Like soldiers in your system, they are alert. Now, with the Omicron variant, because of the mutations, there is a worry that the antibodies might not be as effective as against the original virus. We don't know exactly how much in terms of the immune escape it will have, but the indications so far are that it has immune escape, and that's why people are so worried. Because, for example, the 2 patients who are infected in Hong Kong, both of them were actually had been vaccinated with the Pfizer vaccine. So it might render some of these vaccines not as effective, but it doesn't mean that they'll be useless. The key thing and the key message to tell everybody is you really want to be vaccinated, because somebody who is vaccinated, regardless of the variant, they are better protected than somebody who is not vaccinated. Because when you are not vaccinated, the virus can easily overwhelm your system, go to your lung, and you have seen majority of people who get hospitalized are those who are not vaccinated. It doesn't mean that if you are vaccinated, you will not get infected, you will not infect others. However, if you are vaccinated, the infection will be less, you are less likely to infect others, the period of your infection will be less, and the possibility of getting severely ill is much less, and the possibility of dying is almost negligible.
All right, and we're having this discussion of vaccination and vaccines at a time when there is a vaccine inequality, Daktari. If this variant, therefore, means that people need to be vaccinated at least to be a step in one direction or one side, how does that communicate to the rest of the world that vaccinating everyone really now looks like the escape and the best way out, is it?
So actually, the interesting thing is, as we speak, we believe that the reason why we have this Omicron variant, particularly in Southern Africa, is because of lack of vaccination. This vaccine inequality, vaccine inequity, because what happened with the discovery of the vaccines, all the high-income countries, the rich countries, they hoarded the vaccines. Countries like Kenya, countries in Africa want the vaccine, but you cannot even access the vaccine even if you had the money. So as a result, you find Western countries, high-income countries, have vaccinated majority of their population, even children, while you find in Africa, even healthcare workers, the elderly, have not even been vaccinated. That is what we call vaccine inequity or vaccine apartheid, the lack of vaccination because other people are taking everything. Now, because of that, what happens in a community where the vaccination rate is low, there is a high community transmission. And if the infection goes to people who have low immunity, it means the multiplication of the virus inside them is prolonged, and that's how mutation happens. So it's actually postulated and theorized that this Omicron variant must have happened in somebody who had low immunity, maybe somebody who had HIV or cancer or somebody like that with low immunity, and the virus was able to multiply and get all these many mutations. So as a result, it means although the high-income countries protected their population, but they're not fully protected, because we know we are a global village, very well interconnected. You have a variant of concern, such as the Delta in India, and soon it has spread all over the world. Now we have the Omicron, and I won't be surprised it's already in more than 80% of all the countries, because it's just a matter of time to confirm whether it has actually spread. And this is the price we are paying for inequity in vaccination. If the world is supposed to be properly protected, if all countries have to protect themselves, it means vaccines should be given across the globe equally, and people should be given equal opportunity.
And Daktari, as a medic who, of course, is involved in the science of it and observably looking at the region to the larger extent, what are your thoughts on how South Africa rather is being treated? It seems as though it's being punished for discovering a new variant of a virus.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate, I must say, because I think what South Africa did was quite commendable. The scientists there, they actually have a network where they communicate frequently about their concerns and any mutations. They have a genomic surveillance network, and what has basically happened is they were very quick to actually announce that there was what looks like a variant of concern. The WHO was quick to pick it up, but as a result, countries that actually have more Delta variant, a bigger wave, a surge in infection, a higher caseload, are now shutting their borders simply because, we have this new variant of concern from South Africa. I think that was quite unfortunate. In my view, on one hand, it is understandable to have that kind of a panic and a reaction as we are trying to understand the virus. But on the other hand, to go with this draconian and discriminatory border shutdown is quite unfortunate, because why aren't they shutting the border against Belgium or Hong Kong, for that matter, or Israel? Yet cases have been documented there, or Netherlands. Why particularly South Africa and Southern African countries? Why even shut against countries like Namibia, Zimbabwe, which have yet to document a case? That goes to show you that there is this sense about Africa that is quite unfair, almost racist. I mean, literally racist. My view is that the best way of combating this virus, of course, we need this heightened awareness, heightened vigilance. We need to be keener in terms of people being tested before they leave their point of departure and on arrival, getting quarantined. But to just have this blanket shutting of the borders, I think that's quite unfortunate. And South Africa is being made to pay a price for doing the right thing. Actually, what should be happening right now, the Western countries, the high-income countries should even be sending more vaccines, more medicines, and so on and so forth to these countries that have declared that they have Omicron variant, rather than trying to punish them. Because otherwise, happen is that this kind of reaction might in future dissuade other countries from declaring whatever variants of concerns that they might come across.
All right, and perhaps finally, Daktari, to a Kenyan who is watching us tonight, how do they stay safe?
We just have to go back to the basic principles. We know this virus is airborne. In other words, you catch it by breathing it, and the best way to protect yourselves at the moment, there is a pharmaceutical way, which is vaccination. It prepares your body defensively. Everybody should get vaccinated. Encourage yourself, encourage your relatives, your neighbors to get vaccinated, your friends, your workmates, because the more people get vaccinated, the better the community is protected from severe disease and from another wave. Now, on the other hand, masking remains very, very important. I know many people have become complacent because at the moment we have been having a very low caseload, positivity rate of less than 1-2%. But we know with this Omicron variant, the way it has taken up risen so fast in South Africa, rising by more than 300-400% within 2 weeks, if at all we actually have the Omicron variant in the country, it's just a matter of time before it spreads across. This is a time for people to put on back their masks, particularly if you are indoors, particularly in closed spaces, if you are in church, in the mosque, if you have gone for a wedding, if you are with people at work, put on a mask. If you are outside in crowded spaces, put on a mask. And I think it is important for everybody, particularly the political class and the leaders, to remind people about wearing masks. Perhaps within a very short time, we might require to go back to social distancing and limiting crowding in indoor spaces. But at this particular point, individual responsibility requires you to wear a mask, wash your hands as frequently as you can, sanitize, because that also reduces the infection, and most importantly, please get vaccinated. And I think it will be important that for those people who got vaccinated more than 6 months ago, particularly the healthcare workers and the elderly, that booster doses should be considered for them, because we have seen that vaccination after 6 months, the immunity goes down, and it is high time to get booster doses for these people who are vaccinated more than 6 months ago.
All right, Dr. Ahmed Khaleb, thank you for your time tonight on TV 47.
It's a pleasure.
All right, Dr. Ahmed Khaleb is a consultant pathologist. We were talking of the new COVID-19 variant, Omicron. In a statement on Friday, remember the World Health Organization designated this as a variant of concern. Time for us to take a short break here on TV 47 News tonight. Stay with us. We still have a lot lined up for you.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Makini Herbal Clinic inaendelea kuwapa tabasamu
Entrepreneurs around the country are creatively grinding.
I started with a borrowed phone.
A borrowed phone?
Yeah, that could last 2 hours with charge.
We just have to do quality work for them.
To make their mark in an unpredictable market.
It was now going on a sales venture, looking for stockists, door to door.
On the grind, we bring you their stories so you can tell yours. Every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Men are known to be the pillars.
We're rising up together.
Say your point.
You need an alpha male now to come and help you and your girl.
Ameongea zero.
And women, they are the cornerstone that hold the pillars.
Don't be entitled. A man is peaceful, a man knows how to talk to a lady.
This November, the Men's Conference brings a cocktail of diverse ladies to weigh in on various matters.
Something I'd love more to see is men being able to exist as themselves.
Tune in every Wednesday at 10 p.m.
Hello guys, and welcome to Night In with Joy Irungu. Joy Irungu.
Heartbreak, pain, and tears have been a major part of Night In Season 1. We thank you for being with us on this journey, and for this upcoming season, we will bring you more empowering stories that not everyone is talking about.
This is the only show where we keep it authentic. We share our lifetime experiences, and you know what? Tell every person that you can turn your pain into power.
Join Joy Irungu on Night In as we take the brave step of sharing.
The road to 2022 is becoming tougher.
Nyuma ya wheelbarrow kuna economic model.
And trickier with each passing day.
Niliwaambia washushe chini bei ya mafuta.
Political aspirants in a dilemma whether to change allegiance or not.
How has Raila and the handshake made Jubilee lose focus?
You've seen Raila Odinga flying military choppers.
Our people have never been called to Uhuru Park to unite. They have always united out of their own volition.
That's loud. Reduce your madness.
Kenyans are suffering.
That'd be fair to conclude.
I don't want your station to be sued. Is that Jubilee government has never been able to sponsor any successful project.
Every Monday at 9:30 p.m., Pundits Night brings you inclusive and candid conversations with the pundits. We say disability is not inability.
Our impairment are not disability. Disability is the barriers put across by the society.
Beyond the Limit gives a voice to those abled differently.
People with special needs can undertake a job, particularly that is customer service focused, as good, if not better than people that are 100% abled.
We bring you conversations of these great persons, round table conversations, and many more. Every Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
Tasty?
100, yani chumvi imeonja kabisa, like you do not need to add anything.
So the first thing you need as a beekeeper is a beehive.
Yes. Even though I know I won't treat it as that because when I'm engaging the time.
You can handle it. But if you want us to reduce, we can reduce it.
Wake up feeling fresh every morning and knowing that there is a morning show that's got you covered. It's the morning show built just for you. From local headlines, a comprehensive debate, entertainment, and so much more. I'm always thrilled joining you every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on TV47, the home of untold stories.
Kilimo Diaries is not your one-stop show. Sandra Wahito is always on the move to different counties, different farms, and it's always unpredictable.
Containers are being used to make modern homes with all amenities that are needed in your next big house.
People used to tell us what they wanted done on the containers.
Yes.
So we saw the opportunity and grabbed the opportunity. We only used to do the basic conversion and fabrication, but now we've embraced technology. We're making it more habitable.
TV47, the home of untold stories.
Welcome back to TV47 News Tonight. Thank you for staying with us. Let's get to more news now. And an autopsy report has now shown that journalist Gatonye Gathara died of strangulation using a belt and a laptop charger cable. The autopsy was conducted today, as Willie Dennis Njiru now reports from Naivasha.
After a postponement of a slated autopsy of the late veteran journalist John Gatonye Gathura's body, which was located after a fingerprint finding last week, finally, the procedure was conducted Monday evening at the Naivasha Sub-County Hospital mortuary.
Some trauma on the back of the neck shows that there was sort of a strangle. So there was trauma on the back of the neck, probably when it was strangling when the